What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here, doing another review. This one is Invincible Iron Man number 596. And oh boy. This book is like a schizophrenic, I can't even, like, you read it, there's pretty much 3 different stories going on, and it honestly was like, parts that I thought were going to be really awful turned out to be like mildly okay, and parts that you would think are going to be very very good turned out to be just like pieces of hot garbage. So I mean, first, the cover seems pretty cool. Iron Man's just getting the ever living crap shot out of him by all of his different generations of armor. But it looks very actiony, very good. So we get they've been kind of doing the catch-up page, as more of like a dialogue-driven thing where it's like people are talking, but it gets you caught up. And this is where I experienced my first look at my hand, defeat eye roll. So I'm gonna read this, and this is Riri talking. Let me get this straight. Tony Stark is missing, maybe even dead. And although he's very publicly given me the thumbs up to continue being my version of the Armored Avenger Ironheart, you guys from Stark Enterprises, or whatever you're going to call yourselves this week, are here to take all my stuff. Why don't you guys go after Dr. Doom? Dr. Doom's flying around pretending to be the actual Iron Man. And so, right there. So, Riri was who technically did steal Iron Man's tech by retrofitting it. Granted, he did bless her to say, okay, you can have it. But this irritated the piss out of me when she's like, why don't you guys go after Dr. Doom? He's pretending to be the real Iron Man. Or he's pretending to be Iron Man. And I'm like, throughout all of the infamous Iron Man run, in fact, throughout this, Doom has been pursued by S.H.I.E.L.D., by enemies, by allies. He's pretty much, it hasn't been like a cakewalk for him where he's just like, oh, I'm Iron Man, I'm gonna do my thing, but no one's gonna bother me. When she makes okay, so then then she goes, I don't see you messing with the deposed billionaire monarch of Latveria, just some kid in her garage. But or better yet, why aren't you looking for Tony Stark? Wouldn't you know where he is? This is what you're going to focus on? You're going to come in here and take what's mine because you technically, legally think it's yours? Of course, and then she's just like, yeah, I'm going to do that. But it's like, what does Doom have to do with, any of this? Why? I get it. You got to put him in this little blurb so we know he's here. But again, Riri kind of is already just ugh. Why not go after the billionaire? Why are you beating up on us kids? Whatever. So, Chicana, and this was the part of the book that I was like, wow, this actually wasn't too bad, which surprised the heck out of me. Because what happens here, Riri Williams acts like an adult. So she sits here and she's, after, kind of being standoffish, she's like, you know what? Fine. Take it. Take it all. These people are here from Stark Enterprises to reclaim all the Stark tech that she has. And she's finally, after kind of fighting them the last couple issues, she acts like an adult and says, take it. Take it all. whatever. But of course, you still get the psycho face, the dead Riri eyes. Again, that's scary. And again, I was pleasantly pleased with how she handles this situation. She still says some kind of childish things, and like her neighbor acts like a, I'm assuming what Riri's like 15, 16. I assume he's about the same, but for some reason he acts like a 12-year-old girl, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is like the best day ever," and it's like, really, come on, like this is not how a teenage boy acts. So then we get back to Doom's story, and it kind of picks up where it left off, but it doesn't give you enough of a catch up to really care about what's going on. And one thing that kind of irritates me in books are narration blocks. I mean, I would rather these narration blocks be inner monologues to what Doom is thinking. You can convey this without telling me, rather than Doom just explaining it. But he's in a fight. He kind of was caught off guard because he just found out this doctor that he had kind of had, not an affair, but, had relations with, is now pregnant with his kid. So he is a little kind of messed up in the head. So these three, the Hood, the Corruptor, and the Living Laser all come to confront Doom because all the villains have escaped that he's locked up. And again, the art here, there are very different, distinct art styles between what was the Invincible Iron Man and what was the infamous Iron Man. This had more of the gritty, mysticky type art. And look at this. Hang on. Look at this. So, anyone who watches this channel, watch this. Action. Really good action scene. Look at this. Boom. Alright, sweet. What's gonna happen? Oh, it's an ad. It's an ad, a double page ad. Ugh. So awful. And then we get a double page spread that is eaten up by probably 1/3 white space. So some okay action, but the art in this is definitely just like, I don't want to say like traced, but like it. Go back to my flash review of the annual and look at realistic faces. Like, these are kind of like, I don't know, they're almost creepy looking, which I guess that's what it's supposed to be. But anyway, it kind of just it kind of just ends. Doom defeats these three guys, and it kind of ends. And then we go back to, again, this is schizophrenic. So we had the Riri story, the Doom story, and now we're at the final third, which is the Toni story. And Toni's been having, for the last probably 3 or 4 issues, this existential crisis of who he is. He's been in his armor, no one knows where he is, and he's been having hallucinations. And this is what I don't understand. So Toni has been adopted. Toni was adopted. Apparently he's always been adopted. But Toni being adopted, why does he still look like Howard Stark? I mean, I took one look at this and I was like, oh, that's Howard Stark. You know why I know that's Howard Stark? Because he looks like an older version of Toni. But Toni's adopted. How can that be? So, needless to say, Toni starts hallucinating that his dad's sitting here and he's drinking. And his dad's pretty much like, hey, look, why aren't you asking for help? Whenever I was in trouble, I always asked for help. And Toni, all Toni can do is sit there and whine and complain and be like, why didn't you tell me I'm adopted? I'm a 40-plus-year-old man who can't get over the fact that 40 years ago someone, wanted a kid enough to adopt me. There are so many good stories that come out of like kids being adopted, and you have this whiny ingrate who's just like, why didn't you ever tell me, you weren't my dad? And he's like, and Toni's dad's pretty much like, look, you're my son. I don't care whose genes you have. He's like, you're my son. Like, I raised you. And he's like, well, this is, you watched me suffer. And I love this because Toni, again, being the SJW-ish person he is right now, is like, you didn't help me. All you did was watch me suffer. And Howard sits here and goes, I watched you suffer. He's like, is that what I did? I raised you from birth. I gave you my name and my fortune. I protected you from all these demons of your past. He's like, when you were 9, I stayed up with you when you were sick. He's like, so bad that I thought you were gonna die. I didn't give you every opportunity in the damn world to make the most of yourself and your God-given brilliance. So he sits there and he's like, look, just because I didn't give you my genes, he's like, I gave you every opportunity. He's like, you were smart. He's like, I wanted to make sure that you were the one that was going to like really blossom and be everything that you could. And he's like, honestly, you were my son. And it's like, it kind of got me because it's like all Toni can see is just like his dad, and all he can think is, oh, why didn't you tell me I was adopted? And it's like, get over yourself. Your dad was probably much more of a dad. Your dad was a traitor from S.H.I.E.L.D. So Howard Stark raised you a much better man than that person ever could. So the fact that you're sitting here whining and being so complacent and just ugh. Anyway, hit me up in the subs. Watch some more videos over here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.